the PGMOL should be embarrassed. One of their mouthpieces has come out and made a statement that I find absolutely shocking. It's like they think football fans are stupid. It's like they think we can't make our own decisions, so they feed us rubbish in hopes that we take it on board. I want to get your guys' opinions on it because to me it's crazy. We're also going to speak about Gabriel Jesus and of course a quick word on the game tomorrow against Preston. Before we get into it, if you could just do me a favour very quickly, just hit like on this video. So we're going to speak about this PGMO statement because it's just all like, it's so embarrassing. Like I said, I need to get your guys' thoughts on it. But there is a game tomorrow against Preston. And as always, I get your guys' predictions. And to the geniuses who get it correct, I will make a video after the game and flash up exactly who got it right. So I just want you to let me know in the comments section, what is your score prediction for the Arsenal versus Preston game? Let me know. So Dermot Gallagher come out. And that's kind of, when there's a poor officiating to be seen on the weekend, you kind of maybe can find some comfort in the fact that you know on Monday morning or Monday afternoon, Monday evening, there's going to be a live show on television where a referee comes out and explains some of the decisions and gives you some insight, some professional insight into what the referees were thinking. But Dermot Gallagher come out and had an absolute stinker. Like some of the statements he made, it's like they lack the self-awareness. It's like they don't understand the pressure or the hate almost out there towards their establishment, their authority, because they just feed us rubbish constantly in hopes that we eventually might just change our mind or we might just listen to them. Or like I said, it's almost embarrassing because the panel, fair play to the panel, they come out and said, like, what is that foul against Kivior when Arsenal went on to score to what should have been the winner against Liverpool? Like, it wasn't a foul. The panel come out and clearly said that. And they asked Dermot Gallagher, what was your thoughts? Did you think it was a foul? And he tried to evade the question. And it was like, Dermot, hello, answer the question. Because they put it to him. They literally said to him, do you think that was a foul? Do you think he answered the question? No, of course he didn't. He said, it's one of them where if he gives it, he gives it. If he doesn't, then it's 50-50. It's like, Dermot, answer the question. Like, it's not a show where they give their own opinions, which is exactly what they should be. He's being asked what is his opinion on that exact situation, but he doesn't answer it. It's like he's trying to cover for his friend. Why can't he just say, look, it wasn't a penalty. He probably messed up in that moment. That would give them more, like people would believe him more if they just come out and own up to their mistakes and say, look, guys, he probably did get that wrong. Arsenal probably should feel hard done by here. They might get it back in a game further down the line. But if we're being honest, the referee did make a mistake in that game. But they don't. It's just a show where they come out and they're just trying to stick up for each other. Like, he's not answering the question because he knows the answer. Like, if he gives the answer that he knows, then he's gonna drop the referee in it because it was an awful decision that shouldn't have been allowed to stand. Like, it was never a foul. Kivior jumps for the ball and wins the header. It's not his fault that the Liverpool player didn't challenge it. The Liverpool player just turns his back. Kivior jumps up in the air, wins the header and knocks it down. And the referee waits for it to go to Havertz because he knows it's not a foul, but he's feeling the pressure that because it goes through to Havertz in a moment where Liverpool was feeling vulnerable or in a vulnerable position, he's like, oh, he's panicked and he blew the whistle. Like, Arsenal should have gone on to win that game. It's very difficult with the players that Arsenal had on the pitch to win that game anyway. And then you add in the referees against you as well, or the referee makes an awful decision. I just find it baffling that these so-called experts, these PGMOL guys, come out and they just defend each other constantly. Like, we just want some truthful analysis. We just want someone to come out and say, guys, like, it's clear, everyone in the world knows that was an awful decision. Like, we can see, they try and act like we can't actually process the game. They think football fans are stupid. Like, they think if they just say it, then, like, it's true. Like, oh, if we just say this, then the football fans are going to believe us. But we know, like, we're looking at the game. We can literally see what's happening. We've got the same view as you guys. We know that wasn't a foul. So just come out and say it wasn't a foul. The goal should have stood. But no, they come out and say, well, it's one of them ones where it's like 50-50. No, it's not, Dermot. Come on, Dermot. That was an awful decision anyway. enough on the PGMOL. I don't know how many times we need to have this conversation, but until some professionals can come out and actually take some accountability, I think the question around PGMOL, the questions around VAR will continue to spread, because it's frustrating when it happens to your team. And there might be a game where Arsenal get away with one, but at the end of the day, there comes a point where every team gets stung. And at the minute, it seems like Arsenal are getting stung constantly, like not just with this, but other decisions as well. And it's just like, what's happening to this game since VAR got involved? I don't know. It's just so frustrating. Anyway, let's move on. So there's been some interesting developments on Gabriel Jesus, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this, because the Palmeiras Brazilian club come out and said that they actually wanted to buy Gabriel Jesus from Arsenal, and Arsenal turned down the proposal. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Is Gabriel Jesus a player right now, if Arsenal get an offer in January or in the summer, that you think we need to be moving on? Like, has this team now outgrown Gabriel Jesus? He's only been here for a couple of seasons. He came in with Zinchenko, and they was kind of the catalyst to this new Arsenal team that we're seeing now. Like, they was the start of it, wasn't they? They was the start of the project. These guys that we was bringing in to bring Arsenal up to the next level. And after 2 seasons, a lot of people probably hold the opinion that Gabriel Jesus isn't up to the level, not only to be a starter, but to actually impact games, maybe be a substitute. And it's a difficult one for me, because I know, you guys know, Gabriel Jesus at times can be a brilliant player. He does frustrate at times, and he definitely needs to be more clinical in front of goal. I don't think he has that long to get in Mikel Arteta's good books. Like, Mikel Arteta will assess the situation. I don't think there's much chance of him being allowed to go in January, but I think if we get to the summer and Gabriel Jesus is still in this kind of form where maybe he's in and out with injuries and he's maybe missing quite a few chances, and we get to the end of the season and he's got 3 or 4 goals, I think Arsenal probably do need to look at it and say, if we are really going to be that team to push on to the next level, you do need a forward player, an attacker, a striker, whether it be the number 9 or the right winger that Gabriel Jesus can play. Like, you need more output from a player if you're playing for Arsenal. That's just the bottom line, in my opinion. Like, Saka, you see the numbers. Like, you need players that are ready to consistently perform and put out numbers. Numbers win games. You score, you assist. That means you're doing your job. Saka does it. Martinelli's probably struggled, but I would stick with Martinelli. He looks like a player coming into form. He's definitely playing some of his best football for the past few months. Absolutely. So, yeah, Havertz, we're seeing the numbers he's putting up. Even Trossard, he's not a starter, but Trossard gives numbers. Like, you look at his numbers last season, and it's phenomenal. So, Gabriel Jesus does need to be careful, because if an offer comes in for him in the summer, Arsenal probably will look at it. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Gabriel Jesus. Where is Gabriel Jesus at the minute in this Arsenal team? He's not a starter. A lot of us like him out in that right-hand side position. But if an offer comes in the summer, would you guys consider it? And how much would Gabriel Jesus be worth in today's market? Let me know in the comment section. So, I mean, after the game, there was some comments from Van Dijk. I just wanted to touch on it very, very quickly. Kind of snide. He said, what injuries have Arsenal got? They got 2 players missing or something like, which is absolutely rubbish. We got loads of players missing. He knows he played a weak Arsenal team. And the reason I wanted to bring it in, because I find it interesting that now, like, Arsenal seem to be getting under the skin of players from Man City and Liverpool. We're seeing it now with Van Dijk. We've seen it previously with Bernardo Silva, even the manager, Pep Guardiola. Like, Arsenal are performing and conducting themselves in a way that is now rubbing teams up the wrong way. And I guess that's what you want, because it means you're doing something right. Like, these guys that are speaking out against Arsenal are some of the elite of the elite. They are the cream of the crop. They are the top guys. And the fact that they're speaking on Arsenal in kind of a jibe way just lets you know that you're doing it right. Like, you're getting under their skin. The way that you're performing and the way that you're like I said, conducting yourself, you're definitely doing something right. So I just heard them comments from Van Dijk and just laughed, because it means something that we're doing is right. Also, we got a Gabriel, not necessarily an update, but the feeling around the club is that this Gabriel injury might not be as bad as some of us thought. Look, a player goes down holding their knee, or there's a knee injury and they're being forced off the pitch, you always think the worst, because knee injuries are a nightmare. If you get a bad knee injury, you could be out for a season. Like, we see it with Yuri and Timber. The evidence is out there. Like, we've seen it with so many players. Once they get a knee injury, it's very hard to recover from. Initial reports suggest that Gabriel's injury might not be as bad as some people fear. I will, of course, keep you updated on that. Once I hear more information, I will bring it straight to you guys. But initially, the Gabriel Magalhaes injury doesn't seem as bad as some of us thought, which is good. And then that leads us on to the Preston game. Look, it's going to be very hard to do like a team selection because we probably need to heavily rotate. And I don't mean that every single player needs to be rested. Like, this is still a team that can be quite good. Like, you can't rest every single player because this game is a given. If you think this game is 100% won and you go into that game with that mentality, then it's going to be way harder. Like, the cup games throughout history are riddled with instances where the underdog beats the team that they're not meant to beat. Like, it happens all the time. It happens every single season. So Arsenal just need to be on top form to ensure that we are not that story this season. We're not the team that's knocked out by the underdogs. So what do you do for the team? Look, you can't play Neto in goal because like he's cup tied. So then it's either do you play the young lad we brought in, Setford, or do you go with Raya? Look, in my opinion, you just play Raya. I think when we brought Setford in, there's a lot of hype around him. He's an interesting young talent, but the project wouldn't have been sold on him like playing first team games. We didn't bring him in and say to him, look, you're going to be playing loads of first team games if you come and join Arsenal. He was brought in as an academy player. So for me, there's not really much reason to play him in this game. I don't think you necessarily need to rest Raya. Like, goalkeepers don't have the same exertion as outfield players. You don't need to rest them as frequently as you would a Thomas Partey or a Declan Rice or an outfield player. So to me, there's no need to play Setford in a game like this that still will be quite difficult. There will be rotations on the field, so you probably do still want your best keeper in goal because there will be young defenders, there will be a young midfield, and there'll possibly be some young attackers as well. So just keep David Raya in goal. For me, it's a no-brainer. Just play Raya, and then you can have some experimentation, if that's a word, with the back line. You can play maybe Josh Nichols at right back. Do you play Saliba in this game? Literally, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What team do you go for against Preston? Because it will be an interesting game. There will be players out on the field that you're thinking, oh, I can't wait to see how he gets on. Saliba, do you play him? Look, it's always like you don't want to risk him. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. But you do still need some solidity in that back line. So for me, would I play Saliba? I'd probably play him up until half-time in the hopes that you can, I don't know, maybe go in 2-3-0 up and then you probably bring him off for the second half and maybe bring in a younger player. So I would go Saliba, and then I'd go Kivior next to him. And then left back is definitely an interesting one. Like, do you play Zinchenko or do you play Miles Lewis-Skelly? For me, that's an interesting one. Like, Lewis-Skelly seems to be in front of Zinchenko in the pecking order. And I think this is a chance for Mikel Arteta to show us the vision that he has for Lewis-Skelly. Like, he's been a central midfielder for most of his career. Like, do you now see him when he breaks into the first team? Will he be a left back for Arsenal, or will he be a central midfielder? If he's going to be a left back, then you probably start him left back in this game. But if the long-term vision for Lewis-Skelly is to be in that Arsenal midfield, then there's no better game to show us what he can do than this one against Preston. Like, if he is a midfielder for Arsenal and you see that as the vision for him, like, stick him in midfield, play Zinchenko at left back, play Lewis-Skelly in midfield, then you can maybe play Marino in the 8. I think you definitely need to rest Thomas Partey for this game. He's been very, very good this season, so there's not really any reason to risk him. We know it's an older player. We know he's injury prone. So to me, playing Thomas Partey in this game would just be pointless. We don't need to do it. Rest Thomas Partey. Play Lewis-Skelly in midfield. Play Marino in that number 8 role, a player that we saw play so well towards the end of that Liverpool game, or for the first 25 minutes he probably struggled, but after that he grew into the game, and Marino will keep improving game upon game. Like, this is a new league, this is a new team, it's a new experience for Marino, so playing him in a game against Preston I think would be very, very beneficial to Mikel Marino. So I definitely play Marino in the 8. I play Ethan Nwaneri in the 10. Like, let him play that role. The last time he played it, I thought he'd done it very, very well. Like, we've seen him score goals in this Arsenal team. Like, he's a good enough player. Let him play. And if he carries on showing us that he can do this, like, play him against Newcastle. Like, he's more of a close fit of a player towards Odegaard than anyone else. So, like, when Odegaard comes back, he will play. So let's get Marino used to playing with a guy like Odegaard. So stick Ethan Nwaneri in and allow him to see kind of how that number 10 role works, or the right 8, whatever you want to call it. So I play Ethan Nwaneri. And then the front three are interchangeable. I think you have to play Raheem Sterling. Has he looked the best since he's joined Arsenal? No. Did he look good against Bolton? No. You probably have to say yes. So he is capable of putting on some good performances. He is capable against these lower league teams of maybe scoring a goal, maybe setting someone up, maybe just producing that bit of magic. And Raheem Sterling will be looked at as an option for Mikel Arteta going forward. So if we can give him some confidence, then I think that will help his development as well, growing into this Mikel Arteta side. So for me, I play Sterling. Just rest Saka. I don't risk Saka. He's only just come back from injury. I will be so disappointed if Saka starts this game, not because I don't want to see him, of course, but he's just got back from injury. We know this is a Saka player last season who played so many minutes in games where he probably should have been rested. He wasn't really given that opportunity to take that rest. He's just come back from injury. We saw him perform against Liverpool. He couldn't complete the full 90 minutes, so don't risk him against Preston. We got some huge games coming up. We got Newcastle away, Inter Milan away, and Chelsea away in a 1 week period. We need Saka fit and firing. So rest Bukayo Saka and play Gabriel Jesus or Leandro Trossard on that right-hand side. For me, I'll probably stick Gabriel Jesus up front. I'd go Sterling on the right, Trossard or someone on the right, and then I would go Gabriel Jesus up front because he needs a goal. Like, he needs to come into goal-scoring form, and there will be no better team to do that against than Preston tomorrow night. But let me know your guys' thoughts on the team selection. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the game. Like I said, what players do you play? What do you think about Lewis Skelly? What's your score prediction? Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could just do me a favor, like I said, very quickly, it's absolutely free if you just hit like on this video and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.